At that moment, I completely forgot about my contractions when she asked me, "So are you okay now? Is the pain subsiding?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that feels good." Hello, welcome to Love at Home with Kim. So if you came from my labor and delivery vlog, you would know that I gave birth last November 2, 2020, which is 40 weeks and 1 day past my due date. This video is in collaboration with a good friend of mine, Jaya. Her name is Ansh Takansi here on YouTube, and she's actually my close friend ever since college up to now. So go check out her channel. She makes mommy content. She makes tips. She also makes some creative and fun videos as well, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy it. So go to her channel. I'm going to link that at the description bar down below, and make sure you also subscribe to her. So my birth story begins with the fact that I was 40 weeks pregnant, and around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I started having contractions. So this wasn't the Braxton Hicks contractions that the stomach just hardens. This was accompanied by back pain and also some stomach pain. And all throughout that day, I already had this what we call bloody show. So I had a feeling that that was already it. I'm about to give birth soon. So I was just trying to relax as much as possible. And a few weeks prior to this, I asked my doctor if it's okay for me to labor at home as much as possible, and if it's okay that my husband, who's a nurse, would check my cervix while we're at home. So she just asked me how confident my husband is in checking the cervix, and I said, oh, he's pretty confident because he's a nurse, right? So she gave me the go signal since I'm perfectly healthy. And during the childbirth classes, they also recommended that for first-time moms, they should just labor at home as long as you can until you are having 1-minute contractions and about 4 to 5 minutes apart. And about 9 or 9:30 in the evening, I already had so much stronger contractions, and I asked my husband to check how dilated my cervix is. And when he checked it, I was about 3 centimeters dilated. So he got so excited. I got so excited too, despite the pain that I was experiencing. And I just continued on laboring at home. So I had a protein bar because I know that by the time I get to the hospital, I'm not allowed to eat anymore or to eat solid foods. So I ate at home and I labored there until about 12 o'clock midnight. At this point, it was very hard for me to talk, and my husband and I were supposed to go through a drive-through and get In-N-Out burgers so that I will have more fuel by the time I give birth. But I was already moaning in pain in the car that my husband just decided to go directly to the hospital. And luckily it was 12 midnight, so there's no traffic. I think it took us about 20 or 30 minutes going to the hospital, and when we got there, I couldn't stand up anymore. So my husband just parked in front of the maternity ward and went to the front desk. Do you call that a front desk in hospital? Well, yeah, he went there, asked the nurse to give us a wheelchair. So there was a nurse who picked me up from the car, and I sat on the wheelchair, and I just didn't care anymore. I was just in so much pain that I didn't care if people heard me moaning in pain. I was just like, I was just doing that kind of noise because my contractions are so strong at this point. And they took me to this observation unit where they would assess me whether my water has already broken, and how dilated I am. They took my insurance card and my ID because obviously with the pain that I was experiencing, I could no longer focus, I could no longer fill up forms. So luckily they assisted me in filling up my forms, and I just had to sign, you know, the document, and they just mentioned that, oh, we're going to do this and that to you, yada yada. And I was like, okay, fine, okay, just let me sign it. I signed the forms. They attached all these wires and monitors on me to make sure that the baby's heartbeat is going well, and they also attached some stuff to see my contractions too. After observation, I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, I was already 4 centimeters dilated. So they gave me a hospital gown, I changed into that, and they took me to the labor and delivery room. Now I'm inside the labor and delivery room, and my nurse asked me if I wanted to get an epidural. And at this point, I had a birth plan, which, mind you, I spent a couple of days making that birth plan, and when I was in labor, I completely forgot about that birth plan already. I said, I'm still scared of having the epidural because I might get paralyzed, blah blah blah. So I was still unsure of having an epidural despite the pain that I was having. So I just asked her, can you just give me some IV pain medication? So I think she gave me fentanyl, which made me a bit drowsy, and it kind of relieved my pain as well. My nurse asked me after attaching everything. She attached some monitors, she attached some IV fluid over here, which is weird because I'm used to having my IV over here, but they put it over here in my forearm. So they attached the IV there together with the pain medication, and I was feeling like lightheaded, drowsy, like I had 1 or 2 glasses of wine. That's how I felt. So when she asked me, so are you okay now? Is the pain subsiding? And I said, oh yeah, that feels good. I was still feeling my contractions, but it significantly, the pain significantly reduced. I thought that I was gonna be okay without the epidural. I think an hour later, that's when my husband came to the room, because mind you, this is the time of a pandemic, so they're very strict when it comes to the people coming in and out of the hospital. He's not allowed to go out of the hospital once he's in. So my husband came into the room already, and I also had my COVID testing in my room, which the nurse gave me this long, I don't know what this is, but it's like a long stick or swab that she had to stick it all the way through my nose, and I feel like it's going through my brain. At that moment, I completely forgot about my contractions because of that stick that went all through up my head. And after that, it was done. But yeah, it was also kind of painful. I tested negative for the COVID, which is awesome. I don't really go out that much, so I wouldn't be surprised. And I wanted to sleep at this point, but I couldn't sleep because I could still feel the pain of the contractions, even though I already had the IV pain medication. I was very nervous about trying to push without the energy of being able to take a nap prior to giving birth. I asked my nurse, what do I have to do when I would receive the epidural, like how is my position gonna be like, etc, etc. And then she said, you have to sit still like this, and she demonstrated how I would have to sit still. And I said, oh my gosh, I couldn't sit still. Like, I'm having so much contractions. I couldn't sit still. What if the doctor accidentally poked me somewhere and I'll be paralyzed? But at the same time, I just have to suck it all in and try my best not to move. So I said, okay, I'm getting the epidural. I'm getting the epidural, fine. They asked for the doctor to come in, and wow, my OB was right. Once the anesthesiologist came in, he was the most handsome man in the room. I mean, he was such a snob. I don't know if all anesthesiologists are like that, but he was saying something and I said, what? And he said, no, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the nurse. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. Anyways, I had to sit still, and at that moment I was already crying. I could tell from my husband that when he was looking at me, he was feeling so sorry for me. And I was just so scared at this point. So I was just praying to the Lord that, oh, someone wants to join us. Where was I? Epidural. Oh yes, epidural. So my husband was just looking at me, and I think he was also praying at the same time. And I was just praying to the Lord, Lord, please don't make me move despite the contractions. And as the doctor was poking the needle behind my back, the nurse was just, I think she was just holding my knees or holding my hands all throughout. And that was very encouraging. And she knows that I'm freaking scared of the needle because I told her, please just don't show me the needle. So I wasn't looking at the equipment that the doctor was using. Anyway, so they put the thing in my back. They taped it so that it wouldn't move, and they already put the epidural. So I also asked the nurse if they are going to give me Pitocin. So they said that the doctor that was assigned at that time said that I don't need Pitocin because my body was already doing its job and laboring naturally, so I didn't need to have Pitocin. So at this point, I already felt my legs going numb. So as it was going numb, I could feel that my stomach was also going numb. And when my husband was looking at the monitor, he said that, oh, you're having contractions. You're not feeling that? And I said, no, I'm not feeling that. And I couldn't feel my legs either. So that was amazing. I was able to rest at this point. And how many hours? I think I slept for a good 2 hours. And from time to time, nurses would come in and just move my legs from side to side to make sure that the baby is going down. Because they said that as you move your body, the baby will keep on dropping and dropping until the baby is ready to go out. They inserted the catheter. I didn't feel anything. They also checked my cervix from time to time, how much dilated I was, and I was progressing quite well. I was able to sleep for a good 2 hours, and then my husband had his breakfast and I couldn't eat. So I was just so hungry, but I just had to munch on ice chips. I've been eating ice chips since I got to the hospital. And this is one side effect that the epidural gave me. I vomited twice before I started pushing. I was telling the nurse that I had to vomit. So she just gave me this plastic and then I vomited there. She took the plastic, gave me a wet towel, done. One thing that I also felt while having the epidural is that I was shivering. I was really cold. It's a good thing that I bought an extra blanket to use in the hospital. I think it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. My water already broke. And as far as I remember, I think I was over 7 centimeters dilated then. And the nurse told me that the baby pooped inside me. So I was nervous because I've heard a lot of stories of how it's quite dangerous when the baby poops inside you because they might inhale the poop. So she was very casual and nonchalant about it. She was like, oh yeah, babies poop, you know, but at the same time, we're just gonna have a baby nurse come in to check if the baby is okay because she pooped inside you, but everything's fine. So she was just trying to make me relax at this point because I got nervous then. So about 9:30, I was 10 centimeters dilated. My nurse asked me if I had the urge to push. And I said, yeah, I think I have the urge to push. It's just like there's a huge ball down your, you know, down there. So I feel like I was gonna poop. So I said, yeah, the feeling is like I gotta poop. So she said, okay, so before we call the doctor in, we're gonna do some practice pushes, okay? It was just her and my husband. She was holding my right leg and my husband was holding my left leg, and we were doing the practice pushes. My husband told me that during the practice push, he was already seeing the baby's head about like this. He got so excited. He was like, oh yeah, I'm seeing the baby's head already. It just made me a lot more anxious to see her as soon as possible. And after a couple of practice pushes, my nurse told me, okay, you're ready. I'm gonna call the doctor now, okay? And then we're gonna have the baby. I think it was about 10 o'clock that the doctor already came in, and luckily, the doctor assigned at that time was also my OB-GYN. I was like, oh, hey, doctor. And then she saw me, oh, hi. So you don't need an induction after all. And I said, yeah, well, I'm here now. We started pushing. The entire team was there, and they were just so sweet. They were so encouraging. If you see in my labor and delivery vlog, you would notice that the nurses were just cheering me on as I pushed. It was painless, okay? Don't get me wrong. The epidural was very helpful. If or when I have a baby again, I would totally have the epidural. It's just like having pressure down there. It's like I've never felt this constipated my entire life. It's like a huge basketball coming out of my, you know, even though I've been pushing for only about 20 to 30 minutes, it felt like forever. And I'm the type of person who gets frustrated easily. Maybe because I got scared with this one horror story that I heard, that a mother giving birth to her child and the child's neck got stuck on the mom's part and the child didn't make it. So I was scared that that might happen to us. I was just so frustrated. I just wanted to get the baby out, and I was just so happy that the whole team, the whole delivery team were very encouraging, very supportive. They kept telling me that, oh, it's there already, she's there, do you want to feel her? And then they would make me feel the baby's head over there to show how much I'm progressing. I wasn't even resting as much between pushes. I just kept doing a lot of deep inhale and then hold my breath and then push for 10 seconds and then exhale and then deep breath again and then hold my breath for 10 seconds or more while pushing, and then exhale. So I was only resting, I guess, for about, say, 2 minutes in between pushes. And most of the time, I wasn't really resting between pushes. I was just like pushing and pushing and pushing. After 20 to 30 minutes of pushing, this little gummy bear already came out. So that was 10:42 in the morning of November 2, 40 weeks and 1 day. And I labored for, I think, a total of 18 hours before I gave birth and started pushing. Every mom is different. Every person is different. Prior to giving birth, I was so scared of not being able to push my baby out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you women out there, if you're pregnant, you might be feeling the same way too. But you have to remind yourself that you're a woman. The fact that you got pregnant and you're about to give birth means that your body knows how to give birth. Even if you don't know it up here, which is for my case too, your body knows how to give birth. And at the end of the day, you're gonna get this baby out no matter what. I hope you were encouraged with my birth story, if not a source of information, I guess. And just remind yourself that you can do it. You're a woman, you're strong, you can do it. So if you like this video, make sure you give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And also click the bell notification down below and click the word all so you know that I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!